you said Rottweiler free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I was, to really get into it, there's just no dog that I cannot defeat in the arena of combat. More than 50% of the time. I'm not saying, I can't lose on a bad day. I'm just saying, statistically on average, I would defeat any dog in unarmed combat to the death. Pretty confidently.
Can you guys go around speaking just so I can see the mic level?
This is a quick test of Ryan's mic level.
This is a test of Sam's mic level.
This is Bryce. Hello.
How's that?
Wait, do it again? Sorry.
Nice. Hey,
This is a quick test of Ryan's mic level.
this is Sam's mic level.
Bryce's mic level. Hello.
Yeah. Big back into it.
One sec.
Okay, I waited 1 second.
Quick test of Ryan's mic level.
Oh, wait.
We are live.
We are super
We're
live.
super
Let's
live.
go.
Super duper
I'm
live.
watching all of you. I'm watching
Yeah, what's up,
everyone I've
guys?
ever argued with in the subreddit.
Shout out
Now I
favorite
get to ban you.
DGGers. Okay.
Favorite
Shout out.
DGGers? Myself.
Hi. Wait, I don't know if these people want to be
Myself,
shouted
obviously.
out, but everyone in the DGGP
Yeah,
server.
me.
Okay. I'm thinking of all of you in my mind right now.
Much love.
What's up with bearded Darius? I really hope I'm not bearded Darius.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! The worst canvassing interview I ever got was a guy turns on the camera and he says like, okay, like we're doing normal questions. He's
Oh,
like, wait,
yeah.
can we skip this question? He's like, you kind of know me from stream. I'm really like one of the orbiters. I'm like, which orbiter? He's like, I'm just like Darius. And this is in a canvassing program house interview. I'm like, that is probably. There's a lot of crazy orbiters. Probably in the mid tier, which is like not a good thing. Okay, is this good for Mike? Okay.
I'll see. I'll watch the chat complaints.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Who are these people? You will find out very soon, okay? The mysteries will all be revealed.
Today, I am joined by...
Sam?
Wait, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you gotta say it.
Hold on. No, I know your names. It's Sam, Ryan, and Bryce, but I just got triggered. Wait, real quick.
All right, if we're hopping into intros.
No.
No.
Hold on. I'm sorry.
This is more important.
So you do this professionally, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I was just
Hold
checking.
on. I'm so sorry. I'm trying not to Fed post right now, okay?
Okay, let's not Fed
Locked
post.
in.
I think 2 minutes ago I retweeted the video of the shooting and I said this is what people like Asmongold cheer for. And then I think 1 minute ago Asmongold tweeted a video cheering for it. So I'm just
Another.
okay. Anyway, stop. Okay,
Let's focus.
coming back in. These are my lieutenants, the blue shirts, of the DGG political action. What? Was that funny?
It was very fun.
They can't hear you talking when the mic's not there, so
Aha.
nothing you said
It
mattered.
was funny. Haha.
So, yeah, these are the guys that do all of the behind-the-scenes organizing right now of getting hopefully our canvassing stuff and everything. Well, not hopefully, definitely. Our canvassing stuff and everything ready to go for the upcoming blue wave political season that will definitely be great for Democrats, assuming we have elections. And they wanted to chat about some stuff today to raise awareness about the general existence of the DGG political action community for people that wanted to join. I guess talk about future events that we're going to be doing. See if any of you guys might know Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, or Joe Biden and want to put us in touch with him for an interview.
That'd be great.
Although if you want to, that'd be great. But otherwise, yeah. Go. Who's going first?
Me. My name is Bryce. I am the executive director of DGG Political Action. I got involved with the 2024 canvassing houses. I ran the Las Vegas house. So we ran the Las Vegas event purely without any PV funding or anything from there. And that also went into the PA event. We just saw a lot of good success since that point. And personally, I wanted to see what DGG could do outside of an election year. So yeah.
Mr. Sammy, go next.
Also, Bryce runs, he's being too humble, he also runs Pragmatic Papers. He is the manimal on Reddit and Discord, so if you recognize that name, you like the Pragmatic Papers. This guy's doing that on top of all his politics stuff, so big shout outs. My name's Sam, Flowtrace, Z-tier orbiter, runner-up, bracket C, DGG of the year, 2024, big reps. Got involved, canvassing program, just going to events. I want to say 2022, the second Georgia event was my first one. Got involved with 24 program, ran the Ohio and Montana houses, and like with all the people who ran the houses, was involved with many of the other different things that year, running the events, doing a lot of the digital and technical tools, just all around. Yeah, super excited to be here.
All right, and I am Ryan McPartland Xerophant on DGG and Discord, and I am the outreach director for DGG Politics, that we're calling it internally. Nobody outside of us knows what DGG Politics is, so we're using digital ground game, okay? If you ever hear that name when we're reaching out to Cardano and stuff like that. I'm the outreach director. I was the Pennsylvania canvassing director in 24, and I put together the Cardano call, which was super fun. What do you think of that, Steven?
I thought it was good. I'm always worried that for a lot of these talks, it really just depends on how good of a conversationalist the person is. Like, they could be doing anything, and sometimes it's entertaining, or they could be in a really entertaining role, but they just aren't an entertaining conversationalist. But he was a really good conversationalist. And I mean, cabinet level secretaries are nice to chat with.
It's like always fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
it was super
cool.
cool.
Like your top guy on education for 4 years. So
yeah, we met a lot of interesting people on the campaign trail in the 24 program, and he was my #1 guy for, like, I was in a room with him and 20 organizers, and everyone's asking him questions. It was like a little, like, low-key cafe thing, and I was like, this feels like primo stream content. And I was like, I shook hands with his staff, shook hands with him, talked to him a little bit, and then kept in touch a little bit, and we got this done. So it was super awesome.
Very good.
All right, so I'm gonna give just a quick context for the goals for our conversation, just to make it easy for August to timestamp things, and also to let everyone know what's going on. True, yeah. But the 4 key topics, and we'll do a little bit of yapping aside this, but the 4 key topics is going to be the history of the canvassing program. DGG has done events, we've done canvassing houses, we've done a ton of really exciting stuff. So just kind of touching on that history, so that there's one place where people can go. Right now, people need to go through a pile of Reddit posts and YouTube clips. The wiki, that's true. There is a way, okay? But this will be good for the YouTube audience and for a lot of people who just watch videos. So I'll go through the canvassing history. The next one is going to be the 26 program. The key idea here is that the 24 program, we got blessed by the Progressive Victory program, which brought in $1 million in fundraising. They had full-time legal and HR support. And we're going to try to incorporate the fundraising capacity, the legal capacity, all these capacities into DGG. So wait, was that funny, Stephen? I'm curious. I wasn't intending to tell a joke.
No, you just said $1 million in legal, and I just, for some reason, it just funny to me.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that makes sense. We actually have a lot of experience.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, we'll keep going. But we want to bring those capacities into DGG so that we don't have to rely on other outside orgs that might not be perfectly politically aligned or run into other issues with, and we'll be able to do really exciting stuff. So the goal for 26 is probably not as ambitious as 24 because we're building this up, but we will have events. We will probably have some form of canvassing houses. We'll talk more about that. The third key topic is, let me check my notes. Oh yes, the server. So you guys here as this big audience about people who are canvassing 20 like 8 hours a day and knocking on all these doors and running these houses, and you probably don't visualize yourself here for the hundreds of thousands of people who are watching on YouTube. Hundreds of thousands, yeah. Little bit of a misspeak.
Go ahead.
Okay, but the DGG Political Action Server is a place where everyone can take the first step and then everyone can take the next step. The goal of this place is wherever you're at, if you have 1 hour a week or 10 hours a week and you want to contribute to the broader project, this is what I like to tell people, we'll leave it at this for the intro, is when I'm in Pennsylvania, like, we're already one of the biggest groups that are present there. If DGG, if we get like 1% of our people active, we're like one of the biggest grassroots orgs in the country. And we'll get on this later, which also transitions to the last topic, which is the longer future, the broader scope of where we are. But in terms of the new media problem, we are on the front lines, and there is no one else. It's us and our extended friend group. It's Unfuck America, it's us, it's Progressive Victory, but it's people we know in our extended friend group, and we're, like this Cardano interview, going to be pushing the front lines of bringing these people on and stuff. So pretty exciting stuff. Let me see if I have a segue into our first topic. Do we want to talk about the history? So how did the canvassing program get started? Thank you, Sam. How'd you get started with like the politics stuff and like the live action?
I heard you the first time.
Steven remembers.
He knows.
Yeah, how did we get started the first time? I'm trying to think of...
so many good ways to describe it.
Was it Georgia? Was that the first place?
Yep.
I think it was for the runoff elections.
Yep.
For
Double Senate runoff.
Ossoff and Warnock. Yeah. Where we single handedly got both those politicians elected by 100 vote margins.
Which year was this?
2020.
Warnock for Warnock was 22, I believe.
That's what we just said.
It was both. It was 2020 because
okay.
There was a second one. Try to keep up.
Yeah.
Leader of what? Comms director? What were you?
Outreach director. Okay.
Maybe you should outreach
Listen,
to somebody
I'm not
with
the
some brains.
historian.
Okay.
I'm the outreach guy.
But yeah, we did that. We iterated on that project quite a bit until I think we developed a decent rhythm of how to run things from kind of like top to bottom, from reaching out to candidates to working with these the mysterious van program and getting lists of doors to knock on. And
Omaha was, I think, the next one, I believe.
yeah, we did Omaha after that. We did. There have been a few events that have been set up.
Georgia 22 for then the second Warnock race.
What was the first one you did, did Sam?
I first was there at the second Warnock one, 2022 Savannah, I want to say. It was on the coast.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
Beautiful place. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really very hot. That was like, gosh, I think that was like the weekend of Thanksgiving, or like maybe even like the first weekend after. It was like really, really close, because all these runoff elections, they don't know they're happening until like all the votes are tallied, and then like legally they have to like announce it within a certain deadline. So it's basically the case that every professional organizing setup is like putting it together super last minute, because they don't know, is there actually going to be a runoff in Georgia until they count every single vote, and it's within that, I believe it's a 1% margin that it's legally required to go to a runoff to make sure.
Yeah. So this was the first one that I know about. We had 300 people in like 2 hotels, and everyone went door knocking for 8-hour shifts, 2 days, and then hang out afterwards.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. So that's like the pretty standard template for one of the DGG political action events. And I can speak to this. I just wanted to talk about like this is how I started in the program, is that I heard about this. I thought it'd be a fun weekend, so I came down. And what was fun for me, what was like a unique kind of situation, is that I thought I was an introvert like my whole life, okay? But it turns out that I just have absolutely nothing in common with these people. I'm not interested in talking to them. But when I show up to this thing, okay, every single table you go to, people are starting with a shared baseline of reasonable, like neoliberal policies, and then everyone has like interesting insights branching off of that. So you can pull up on any table, and it's just like these people are all super aligned, super fun to talk to. I just had a good time. So
They all play autism games.
that's true.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think it was in the 2022 event. It was like the day before everyone like got in officially, Friday night. It was actually Josiah, Pondering Politics, just started impromptu organizing, like, hey, who wants to go to pizza? And like it started, I remember it was like a Discord group chat with like 12 people, and then we realized, oh, there's gonna be like 50, 60 people. So like we got a channel on the server, and like we're like calling this pizza place like, hey, it's okay if we show up with like 60 people and stuff. There was like karaoke. I did Rap God. A bunch of people did a bunch of different songs, which I nailed, by the way. All the events are super, super fun. Like door knocking is always a really rewarding experience. People are always like, I didn't expect this to actually be fun. But even outside of that, just hanging out with people, going back to lunch, going to dinner, the community night events and stuff. What was there? It was a Smash tournament, I think, that was happening the final night of, in like 3 different hotel rooms. They had 3 different Smash setups, and someone set up a bracket with like Discord like handles and stuff. And I don't remember who won that. Definitely not Blair. He sucks. But
He does.
yeah, no, they're always a ton of fun. Yeah.
Bryce, how did you first get involved?
I first got involved with the 24 canvassing program. I was a Reddit guy. I just always scroll on the subreddit, and I was kind of looking for something new to do in my life. And I saw the post that Sejin put up detailing like, hey, the canvassing houses are happening in 2024. It was like $500 a month, free rent, all that stuff. And I figured, why not? I've always had like an interest in politics. I've been watching Destiny since like 2020, 2021. But like one of the things I struggled with was I didn't know really how to get involved, because a lot of this seems like a walled garden sometimes. And I figured this would be a good route. And the thing that I thought I brought to the table, because this was, as far as I was aware, like the first time that anybody had ever done something like this, is that I have a lot of experience with leadership, right? I've been leading teams since I was like 14 years old on my like basketball team in high school. So I figured that if there's one thing I can bring to the table, it's not politics knowledge. I'm not the guy to go to name off every House of Representative person. Yeah, dumb as a rock, but good at leading. People like me, so that just wound up being a really good transition for me into politics. So yeah.
Any questions, histories?
Why would I have questions about history? I was there for this, motherfucker.
He knows already. True.
What's your second point?
Yeah, no, we'll just keep going through it. So basically, the next thing I want to do is bridge, like, how the fuck did we get from doing, like, these one-off events and stuff like this to doing something the scale of the 24 program, and kind of what goes into that, and then kind of the context for this, something to think about as the viewer. I don't know which camera's on. Oh, this one's on. To think about is, like, where are these components and where are they going to come from in the future? And that's what we've been thinking about for the past few months. So the story of how this came together, and correct me if I misspeak.
Yeah, I actually know a couple of the more details, like about how it all came together for 24. It was Christian, or Sejin, obviously is sort of the godfather of all of this stuff. That's already public. Has worked super hard on all of this, and he got in conversations with the folks over at Progressive Victory pretty early on. I want to say in 2023, in anticipation of that 24 program, about, can we collaborate? What would that look like? Let's think about it. And from that, got paired with Progressive Victory, in particular, a lot of the sort of senior leadership of Progressive Victory are like very real political professionals who like have like 20, 30 years of experience working on campaigns, working on different PACs and things like this. And they really brought a level of funding and resources, infrastructure that previously we didn't have. All of this stuff is just off the back of, us, of volunteers, people in the community who happen to have experience in leadership or politics or just have a dedication and a drive to make it happen. And that's why it's been so successful. But we really were lacking that component of like a real, professional organizer class to really empower us. And just to be super honest, I mean, they launched us, a way further than we ever could have gone. The budget alone, the 2024 program, I don't know if people really appreciate this. In Omaha, it was 1.5 houses for 2 months. In 2024, it was 6 houses for 6 months, 6 events. We knocked over 330,000 doors. That's more than every other canvassing thing that we've ever done in the community put together. It was a massive scale up.
And the door knocking you're talking about there was just the people running the houses full time,
plus the events.
Plus the events. Do you remember the split there? Wasn't it was it almost 50-50?
No.
Or what was the?
I want to say it was 60-40 houses to events.
So the houses knocked more doors.
Yes.
Yeah. So of all the doors that we knocked, that I think Sam called at the election stream to give us credit for. I think over half of those came from just the full-time people that were living in these houses and knocking doors. Yeah.
Yeah, and to be super clear, I mean, it was the majority of the people coming out were from DGG and were from our community, but there does also have to go to credit. I mean, there were Voshers there. There were people who weren't from any community. Were just found PV randomly through social media and stuff. I would say it's 80 to 90% us, but credit where credit's due. There are people who are more progressive that showed up when it mattered and tried to help us win that election. Unfortunately, it didn't go that way. But yeah, that program was really special. It was the biggest thing we've ever done by a mile. It had huge impact. It was probably one of the most effective programs on a dollar-to-doors basis in the entire country. If you dig into our metrics and how we're able to do things so cheaply because we have a passionate community of people who are willing to come out, and people will pay for their own hotels if they can afford to. That's the real strength that program had, is we had the community already, but being able to really professionalize it and supercharge it. And it's something that we're thinking a lot about, how do we try to maintain that level as we sort of return back to doing it on our own? How do we take the knowledge, the connections, and the experience and try to, get ourselves to a similar level?
Well, really quick, you spoke on something there.
That is just a pet peeve of mine, because a lot of people look at 360,000 doors knocked throughout the 2024 cycle, and then they look at the very top of the ballot with Kamala Harris and her loss and go, oh, well, it doesn't mean you did anything. Right. And it's one of the most annoying fucking things that I can imagine talking about, because when we look at just Nevada, right, Susie Lee and Jackie Rosen, House of Representatives and our senator, they won by less than 10,000 votes each. We look at that Supreme Court seat in North Carolina. That was 200 votes? Yeah. Those are seats that we 100% made an impact in. We couldn't swing the fucking national election, but on a local level, we had an impact. In each one of the districts, I looked this up, we had less rightward shifts than the rest of the country. And I don't know how much of that is us. It's impossible for us to know, because obviously we can't look and see who we canvass and who they voted for. But we made an impact, and it's just disproportionately felt at a local level rather than the national. And we knew that going in, to be fair.
The other thing I would say, sort of talk about benefits of the program from 2024 is not just, the electoral results, but all the people who, Bryce mentioned earlier, always had an interest in politics, didn't really know how to get involved. For a lot of young people today, the path to become engaged politically, doesn't really line up with how we live our lives. The way you got into politics back in the day was you go to your local, neighborhood political precinct meeting, maybe you go to your county party meeting, and these things still exist, but they're pretty, mediocre, to be honest. There aren't a lot of people engaging with them, particularly young people. I mean, in the same reason, there's a death of all sort of in-person local stuff. I mean, political local stuff is even more so suffering. When I look at the program, one of the things I'm most proud of from 2024 is all the amazing people who came in with very little to zero political experience and came out of that really capable organizers. And I get messages pretty consistently of someone from the Nevada House who is now organizing and working on a mayoral campaign, or someone who was from the North Carolina House and is now working to help raise funds with the Georgia State Democrats. All of the people came out of that program with a real skill set and the ability to actually okay, you feel like you care about these things, you want to do something, you come out of this program, you will be empowered to go and do things. You'll know exactly what to do, how to do it, how to be really good at it.
Nice. Steven, do you have any thoughts on the margin question? It's one of the ones that comes up from time to time. It's like, oh, we're not actually doing anything.
I mean, we are doing stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, and you can't know until the end of a race, and you don't want to be the person who's like, oh God, that was a few hundred votes, and I could have been involved in that. And then it's just kind of like a dumb mindset. If for no other reason, rather than looking at the impact that you might have individually, think about what somebody on the right thinks that they can do individually, because those people are all, working at every level to make things happen. So at the very least, you could be a counterbalance to them. But yeah, I mean, do you as an individual person doing one thing, matter? Like maybe not individually in that one thing and that one action, but if everybody has that mindset, nothing works. So you kind of all have to kind of.
It's exactly the line that I give at events and stuff is to say, like, we add this margin, let's say it's 100 votes, whatever it is, but if there's 10, 15 groups of our size, which there are in that area, and each of those groups is using the same principle as us, they're operating under the same idea, and they all say, oh, well, my 100 votes isn't going to make the difference or isn't likely enough to, we all have to do what we can. That's what I always think.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so we've been glazing the 24 program, talking a lot about PV. Why are we not working with PV again? It sounds like that was a good deal. And I'm not trying to shit on them, obviously. I want to start with that, okay? I love PV. We couldn't have done what we did without them. Or I'll give more context first, I guess, about their kind of trajectory, right? I think that makes sense. So basically, the way that this kind of worked is that, and correct me, obviously, but in 22, so earlier than us, Sam D, he was kind of the leader for Progressive Victory, and he's looking at the problem we're all looking at, the new media problem. What the fuck is going on with Democrats and young people in new media? And he's looking at people like Steven, people like Vosh, and he's kind of exploring the space, and he rules out Hasanabi, or not rules out, but chooses not to start there. And then, we work with, he started with Vosh. So that was kind of the start of Progressive Victory, was Vosh and like a Vosh kind of project. And then we came in 24, but they were building their operation from 22. So the situation we were in is that a lot of the leadership, who we relied on and who were super important, were from like Vosh's community, and then the canvassing program was largely from our group. Destiny's community. Yeah. When I say our group, I'm talking DGG. So that was kind of like setting the stage for what happened. And then I guess there's the two key problems is like budget issues and alignment. But I do want to focus because I don't want to drag the program, right? It's important that we realize that these people brought us 10 years into the future, that there was a clear vision that nobody else because these guys, the founders, Sam and Eric in the main two, are from the DNC kind of group, like they're from that area, institutional Democrats kind of, and they came down and they helped, and so props for that. The two key issues were probably alignment and budget stuff, which eventually came to a head. So anyone want to take this one, or I don't want to get too much?
I mean, I would say just to be super clear, it's like Progressive Victory were really good partners to us. Did everything work out perfectly? No, but nothing ever does. Like I can name a ton of shit shows that happened in the previous events in Georgia and stuff, because look, organizing is not like a neat little thing you can do. It is a very chaotic environment. They took, frankly, some pretty big risks, both in terms of the amount of autonomy they gave us, who were coming in from DGG, that they gave, Sejin and the other leadership, and they also, gave us a ton of money as well that we had a lot of discretion over. So, they were great partners. Obviously, look, there are some political differences. There was the New York event for Jamal Bowman that, look, no one here likes Jamal Bowman, obviously, but you have to be able to distinguish between, a flawed ally and an avowed enemy. And at the end of the day, these were people who were showing up to help us win the presidential election, what was probably the most presidential election ever. And, we'll see if it keeps that throne in 28. They're people who, understood that, look, we might disagree about, which primary support is, but there's no question of them, when it comes to the general, we need Democrats to win. And, that means, moderate Democrats like Joe Manchin in Montana, who they spent a ton of money on with the Montana program trying to elect. And that also means, more progressive Democrats if they're the ones that make it to the general ballot. Obviously there's disagreements, but, if we let those disagreements, deny us what was an amazing program, we're never going to win. I know there's also, some questions about the budget stuff I can speak to, the Montana House. I don't know if it's super well understood, but had to shut down unexpectedly pretty early throughout the year. And as the person who ran that house, me and the people I was working with were the ones most affected. It's just a matter of, if you ever saw those headlines right around the candidate swap, that, when people were pressuring Biden to step down, Steven, did you ever hear those headlines that were like, donors are saying they're withholding X millions of dollars until Biden steps down. Does this ring a bell? Did you see any of those headlines?
Yeah, I saw so many of those headlines.
Yeah, so a very small percentage of that money was the money that that program was running on, which is a credit to, this is why the institutional support is so strong, because they're able to get these big super PAC, grants, monies, where a lot of the fuel for all this stuff flows from. And that's something that, was largely out of, our control. Were there, better budgeting solutions that could have happened? Could we have had a better safety fund? Yes. But ultimately, look, we're building the plane as we're flying it because we don't have any other choice. We didn't want to wait until 2028 to try and, deploy our online community as strongly as possible to stop Trump from winning. We're going to throw everything we have at it right now because our democracy is on the line. And you see in the news today, why that was so important. So I would say, yes, the program was flawed, but, the people at PV, the leadership, everyone over there, they were giving it their all. They were good partners. And, I've got nothing for love with those people, even though, I don't like Jamal Bowman.
Thoughts on budget? Questions on budget? Awesome. Yeah. Do we want to talk about house roulette or
House roulette?
Russian roulette, but with the canvassing houses? So Pennsylvania was safe, okay? I was told when the budget issue started, I was like, Ryan, you are a good man. You are the best of us, and your house is safe. Also, Pennsylvania is a particularly important state. The rest of you motherfuckers, fucking spin the fucking gun. The other houses were on the line, so it was fun. It was a beneficial experience. We turned it to our benefit. We had a couple of houses that did some fundraising. So Ohio raised for themselves, I think, $10K or something like that. So yeah, it was fun. We made the most of it, but it was stressful to be in that living situation.
Yeah,
Sure.
and again, I'll just add, the people at PV, those people who like Jamal Bowman and stuff, I won't name any names or give specifics. Those people know who they are, but there are people who took enormous personal risk, personal career risk, financial risk in order to make sure that we only had to close one of the 7 houses.
Yeah.
They threw everything they possibly could at it, and without them doing that, it could have been a much scarier story in terms of the program just disintegrating.
Any questions about alignment or budget stuff on PV, Stephen?
Not much. I think one kind of community concern going forward, and now that we're kind of more organized on our end and we've got more, I think, leadership and representation on our end, has to do with supporting candidates that I think the community would consider as being grossly misaligned with the community. My guess is that won't be as much of a problem for the upcoming midterm season.
I mean, I'm partial to a couple of Republicans, but besides that, we should be okay.
Is Kinzinger running again, or Liz Cheney? Or, no,
No, I'm trolling.
Yeah, okay.
We're probably going to have a D next to the name, but...
Yeah. I mean, I think it's an interesting question, though. We always talk about, the left eats its own, circular firing squad. The right is so good at getting in line. But then how do we actually navigate that when there are people on the left who, progressive victory,
We would just choose people who don't want to eat our own. I think it's pretty simple. We'll get it. We'll get it.
I agree there, but I think when you then look at the actual, the way the sausage is made, a lot of, when it comes to organizing is, working together kind of tit for tat. And to be honest, and they were transparent, that was kind of part of the strategy is we want to make sure that we have do a couple things for progressive candidates in primaries, or the people at PV felt part of the reason why they wanted to do that was so that we could try and get buy-in, so that when we come to the general election, certainly you're not going to get Hassan, but you can get people like Vosh and people that are more progressive than us, but not like tankies, more bought into this project. How do you feel about is there any tit for tat there? Is there any allowance, or is it just the hard line is the people who eat their own?
We should have talked about this off stream.
Folks should talk about
No, none of these motherfuckers. No, fuck them. We're not trying to win any favor from these motherfuckers anymore. Fuck no.
Don't worry, guys.
If we I don't think there's anything wrong. So when I look at somebody like Mamdani, okay, Islamic terrorist. No, I'm just kidding. When I look at somebody like Mamdani is unequivocally clear that the Democratic Party is large enough for Democrats in New York and Democrats in West Virginia, and that all of these people have to exist under this umbrella of we are fighting for democratic things. I personally, I don't know, I guess maybe we'll get into whatever our future points are for future plans or whatever, but I'm not as interested in trying to primary the fuck out of blue Democrats in plus 40 districts. People can spend their money and their time on that shit. And I'm never trying to win or curry favor from people who are on the socialist communist left, because they're never, ever, ever coming to our center. If anything, these people slowly begin to eat their own when it comes to their AOCs, their Bernie Sanders, and their Mamdanis. They start to eat their own on it. So the fact that you're never bringing them over to center left causes ever. So I just don't think it's even worth it. I would support a progressive. I would support a fucking a Bowman over any fucking Republican, but Yeah, I think focusing on like building up those strong center left races and fighting on that ground, I think is
I
good.
think I super agree there. I think to me the interesting thing is, as you say, they start to eat their own. AOC and Mamdani, those are people who used to be a lot more progressive, but when they see how the sausage is made, there's some tempering, there's some meat in the middle. To me, I guess what I say is I don't want to leave those people behind who look, again, you're never going to get the tankies, but Mamdani used to be a lot more we are not going to vote for Biden stuff, and now he's a lot more strongly in line with the Democratic Party.
Yeah,
Same
that's
with
true.
AOC,
But AOC, I wouldn't have supported initially if I was doing any canvassing program. Mamdani, I think I would have. Because while Mamdani might have said some crazy shit 3 or 4 or 5 years ago or whatever, I think his election was ran well, and his message was pretty incorporating of different types of political ideas. AOC's at a good place now, but I just think we've made so many compromises to people that are never going to be fully in support of the party. And it's also I give this advice for personal relationships. If you're fighting with your partner all the time, you're investing so much energy into just getting to neutral, and you're not building something great or building something more positive with a partner. And I think when it comes to commies and shit, I think it's the same thing. Why spend so much time just trying to convince somebody to vote for you? If you're one of these people who are I'm never voting for Newsom, it's okay, then eat shit, bro. I don't care. I don't need to talk to you. You can go do your own thing. I'd rather just find center left Democrats and build with them and have an actual positive pro movement rather than trying to spend so much time appealing to people, turning off everybody else who is just like a center left Dem. And then these people on the far left there's not a single example ever of any moderate left candidate getting support from these people ever. Is there a single example in the last 10 years?
The 24 canvassing program, we lived alongside of, I think, 1/3 or 1/4 of the House. Well, I can speak to Philadelphia, but we a lot of these people were Vosh's community people, and they were magnanimous during the general. And he, to my understanding, was magnanimous during the general. I don't know where he's at right now. I haven't kept as in touch.
Vosh might have been Vosh hovers the line sometimes. Although now I think he's gotten a little bit crazy. I don't know why over the past few months, but Vosh's community would have been the closest aligned with mine. That was further left, maybe. But I just want to spend time building positive relationships and not things where it's if you nowadays when we have our Brian Tyler Cohens, when we have our even our Josiahs, when we have our IRIs, when we have our Adam Mocklers, these are communities that are hungry for synergy, in my opinion. Why go to another community where it's these people all want to support moderate left cucks who want to destroy our system, and isn't this guy a pedophile rapist, and why spend so much time trying to appeal to these people? And it's you could just be irrelevant. Fuck it, I don't care. Let's just work with the strong communities we can synergize with and build something better with. I think. Yeah.
I would say that the reason is because there must always be a Lich King, but you need someone to work with them. But the real truth is that we worked alongside these people. Here's the tension in my heart, right? I can tell you, Stephen, is that groups are bad, individuals are good. We lived with a lot of these people, so the political lieutenants for DGG, it doesn't get worse than fuck all of them. So we can be pretty on the table. The political lieutenants for DGG lived alongside of a lot of the people who are now political lieutenants or worked very closely with people who are lieutenants among other communities. My thought is that if they're running a primary for some candidate that we don't support, we keep our hands off. But it seems like we should be cordial in terms of if we're running an event and people want to come.
Yeah, that I'm always in favor of, for sure.
Okay, yeah.
My parents, some people might know this, are super mega.
Yeah.
But I still talk to them and hang out with them, but I'm never going to try to appeal to them as voters. So, yeah, if people want to work from those other communities to do stuff with us, I think that's totally fine.
I think you hit the nail on the head. It's if they are going to show up for our values,
100%.
for Democrats, politics makes strange bedfellows, but at the end of the day, we got to win. And, I'll tell you one thing for sure, Republicans are not nearly so picky. If they are pro-Trump, then people get in line and they say, oh, Nick Fuentes, how bad is he really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the two key things to highlight would be we never want to be in a position where we're dependent on these people where they can cut us off and we're fucked.
Yeah.
And we never want to be in a position where we're supporting someone we don't align with. But if they're running a project or we're running a project that we're strongly aligned with, we're cool to cross promote. Your all thoughts on that?
It depends on who the candidate is, I guess, or what do you mean?
Well, I'm just saying, if it's obviously a Democrat general, if it's November 4th and it's Democrat down ballot, right?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Okay, yeah, we'll figure out the details. Okay, we'll hash it out. But
I don't want to be in communities that are poisoning liberals.
But we can counter-poison them. Okay.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, they're too.
That's have to be a debate for another time.
But we could do a different. Yeah.
Okay, we'll
different thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no. This is no. It's super quick because there's a horde of people who sit on their fucking computer and watch Vosh and they're not participating. But there is a political class and those motherfuckers are going to be my colleagues in 10 years when I'm fucking running shit and I'm a staffer and all my friends are staffers, right? We're going to be for the next 40 years, we're going to be brushing shoulders. The political class I need to work with. Remember, it's not 100,000 people who show up to the event. It's 100, right? The political class is I think more strongly aligned, especially when it comes to supporting Democrats. And So that I just wanted to put that out there. Like we don't
That's
have
fine.
to worry
But
about
all I'm
saving
saying
this
is that
community.
like we shouldn't have to appeal to them. Like they have no candidates. They are not winning anywhere. They have no political voice in this
Okay,
country
yeah.
whatsoever. So they should see our project and just go, okay, you know what? These guys
It's
get
a
us closer
two-way
to-
street. It's a
Yeah,
two-way street.
it is a
Both
two-way
people-
street.
both
And I'm
people
tired of
wanna
it
get-
making a one-way street. That's what I'm saying.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, we won't make
Okay.
it one way.
Seriously,
street.
Ryan, this guy.
Fucking
unbelievable.
Ryan, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's like the full history.
I know you're getting Mike screwed. Do you have any points you want to make, or? No. Okay, we're good. We're chilling.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, I think at this point it is clear DGG will be our strong. We'll bring everything in, we'll incorporate it, and we'll be able to do the 28 program will be double the size of 24. We'll do something cool. So that I think is our segue into. Let me just double check my notes. All right, Sam, say something while I check my notes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, look, at the end of the day, it's you got to make bread with who you got to make bread with. And, if our country's on the line, then, of course, we're willing to work with. But
What's the
we're
next
keeping
topic?
ourselves now,
Yeah, so-
what is the next topic?
I know. Well, if you remember, Steven, I mentioned I was checking my notes. But the other topic on the 24 program that I wanted to touch on was, I did want to touch on some event stuff, is that there's a couple of fun stories around this, and it also bleeds into kind of thinking about what we're going to be doing in the future with events, is that we had our Ohio event that a lot of people remember as a highlight of the program, and then the Wisconsin event was also a big hotel, big budget, stuff like this.
Was the Ohio one? Did I dye my hair for that one?
No, that was Door Knock for Warnock in 22.
You have, like, dementia or something. This is, like,
When was
multiple
Ohio? How
years
long ago was
separated.
this?
That was the start of 2024. It was the Cincinnati event.
Everything is like
Church.
6 months or. 10
Ohio
years
is
away
the
from
one
us,
where
yeah.
every single orbiter was there. It was like Loner Box, Dylan, Wick.
guy crashed his car.
Gotcha.
There you go.
The one where the guy crashed his car is what Bryce said. There was an unfortunate loss of an automobile.
Yeah,
We lost an Autobot that day.
true. But wait, Steven, do you know the budgets for these different events? Like if you had to guess, or how?
For like a canvassing event,
Yeah, for the Ohio.
including
for-
hotels or not including hotels,
Including all in.
We'll talk more about that because I think it's worth splitting out. Because,
anywhere from like 50 to 100K.
Yeah, usually in that range for the bigger events. And let's talk more about those bigger events. Is that I do like to split this out in my mind. It's just like a side point, but the community, we do fundraising through the community to pay for the event. So it's money coming from DGG, and then when people pay for the hotels, that's also money coming from DGG. So some events are much cheaper because we don't cover as many hotels. Some are more expensive, but that money is ultimately coming from DGGers. It's just coming from different ones at different times. So I just caveat that in. But yeah, usually between that range of like 50 to 100K for
If
the
you can
bigger
afford to pay
ones.
for a hotel, pay for it, please.
Okay, Steven, how familiar are you with the Nevada and Pennsylvania events? Do you know the lore
Firstly,
behind
it's
these?
Nevada, but go ahead.
I forgive you, Steven. But no.
Wait, it is Nevada, right?
I don't know what it
It's
is,
Nevada.
but it was it hurt me. Okay, I've been working so hard for you, and you hurt my feelings. Okay,
When did I hurt your
When you
feelings?
called me out in front of 100,000 people about Nevada, you really hurt me. It was really mean.
Oh, right now?
I need an apology. Yes.
I'm good.
Okay, I forgive you again.
Okay,
for being
about
good.
Nevada
Okay,
and-
trolling.
okay, yeah.
Nevada and Pennsylvania event. What's your understanding of those events? Do you know what's different about those than the other events? I don't know how much lore you're familiar with.
Was I at these events?
You were not.
He was
in
at
Nevada.
the Vegas.
Oh, he was at Vegas.
Vegas.
That was,
What
at
did we?
that was at the nightclub. Remember you talked to a couple of small-time politicians? Susie Lee was on stage.
Oh, Bryce.
It was in the nightclub. Is October? Yeah,
Maybe.
maybe.
I think I remember.
Yeah, you didn't
Okay.
stream. You spent the entire time messing with the equipment.
We were outside, yeah, on the AstroTurf ledge outside or whatever. I remember. Yeah. Okay. What about it?
Bryce, what was the budget for the Nevada event?
It
Wait,
was.
wait, just to be clear. Steven, you didn't notice any major difference between this event and the other ones?
Well, so the budget for this event was what, like 20K?
Way less than that. It was like under 10K.
Okay. Because I don't know how much I was participating in like door knocking or any of the other stuff that was going on. But go ahead.
Yeah, Can
Yes.
I give the story for the Nevada budget?
Well, yeah. So Progressive
Nevada.
Victory at that point was out of money, basically, and we wanted to try and get as many events out as we possibly could. So while we were in Nevada, it was Rise who we made a connection with, and they said they would help us out with procuring a venue, with getting lit, and other funding things. Right?
With getting what?
lit literature. Sorry, like
Oh, I thought you said lint,
lit. No, not lit.
like from belly buttons. But okay, literature. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we hooked up with Rise, and then we also did some fundraising through your community as well. And that entire event was ran for, like I said, under 10K. It is the most efficient event we've ever ran. We were underneath the dollar per door pretty easily. And it was I'll be honest, it was completely rogue, right? Progressive Victory, Mr. Sam. I remember the day after Mr. Reese announced it at the Wisconsin event, he was like, hey, I don't know if this is going to happen, guys. So we got to have a big old meeting about it. Because he didn't want to obviously put his name behind something that might fall through. But all the people in DGG, like Lauren was a big one who helped us out, Reese.
Specify.
Not Lauren, what's her?
There's like 12 Laurens at this point.
Lauren. No.
There's Lauren Southern, there's Lauren De Laguna, there's Lauren Chen.
Lauren from canvassing.
Lauren from canvassing, not any of the Laurens we're talking about. But she was a big help. Mr. Nate was a fantastic help as well in procuring funding, and just ran the most efficient events. Basically, got everything that we could out of the 24 canvassing campaign. There wasn't going to be much more that was done.
All right, you want me to follow up on PA?
Go ahead.
All right, so the PA event has a humorous story as well. Is that, like Bryce said, PV's running low on money, but we had a plan, and the plan was like, we're going to do the Ohio event, we're going to do the Wisconsin event, and we'll probably do one other event. We'll do a Pennsylvania event, and we may or may not do another one. So Pennsylvania was always planned to be the capstone of the program because it was seen as the most important swing state. So we wanted to do something big and flashy there. So through September 30th, which is 1 month before the November election, the Pennsylvania, that's my house, Pennsylvania, we were assured that we would be like 100%, we're having this event, we're having budget for it. And obviously, again, I want to reiterate, we did lose a lot of funding because of the Biden issue, because of Harris, but we were assured budget through September 30th. So I had a month when the plug was pulled to pull an event together. Which really is 2 weeks because people need to facilitate travel and we need to do the announcements and stuff. So I had 2 weeks to pull this event together. And thank God, Mr. Bryce, I actually, one of the reasons he's the executive director, okay, is he gets glazed today, is we actually used his excess money that he raised for the Nevada event to also run the Pennsylvania event. So pretty big cheers to Bryce.
Good job, Bryce.
Yeah. You guys might have seen John Kerry on Reddit, okay? He gave a big, nice little speech to the DGG canvassers.
I think the point of these two events is to sort of look at, like, number one, the difference between having that kind of level of institutional funding that we had versus trying to bootstrap ourselves, but also talk about, like, what does transitioning that gap looks like. Like, we've got now a lot of experience of, like, talking to these funders, of currying, the favor and the funds ourselves in order to do them. It's just a question of, trying to scale that up because, again, the people at PV, political professionals, decades of experience. Like, how can we try to, get closer to their level so that we can afford to not just, fund 2 events on our own, but afford to fund an entire program on our own. And again, a lot of that is just all off the backs of, like, people who are helping us do this work, not just ourselves, but people who are, in the Discord, in the community, helping us out.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll say on this is one of the reasons I went through this topic too is so people know where their money's going and how it's kind of being spent, and that there's a balance between the more expensive events where you can Google public filings. New York was like over 80K, and it was not very cost efficient, and also the least DGG involved in the planning. But generally, we talked about taking over capacities. This is one of the capacities that we already had really built in, and we just kind of leaned on that. But it's one of the things that we're good at. And there is a balance between the extremely low budget. Pennsylvania was in a church basement. It was a little scuffed if you guys went there, but we made it work. And there's a balance point between a $5,000 event and a $60,000 event where we can get the value of a bigger event while paying a much lower cost. So fun little lesson learned from that.
Okay.
How are we doing on time, by the way? We're all clear? Or?
Got 2 minutes. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Next major topic is plans for 26, transitioning over. Bryce, do you want to talk more about this, or just where we're at and vision and stuff?
Yeah, so the ideal is to try and get some canvassing houses up. Obviously, it can't be to the extent of the 24 program because the 24 program already started by this point in 2024.
And it's the midterms.
Yeah, correct. And let's just be real, 2025 was a little bit of a rough year for DGG, 100%.
I have no idea what he's referring to.
Yeah, just secret memes, 100%.
The election and everything, yeah.
Exactly. January
We're bummed out.
20th.
We did lose a lot of people after November because it was such a heartfelt thing.
Yeah, for sure. There's some depression there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so essentially the plan is to try and canvass. We want to work with Z and Unfuck America as much as possible. We have a very good relationship with her. She's awesome. She helps us out where she can. We will help her out where we can. But, we just don't know exactly where that's going to be as of yet. And we got to secure funding for it. So once again, if you know anybody with money, let us know, please.
I can just make a specific call out. Like, all of this program up until we got with PV was just off of the back of people, and specifically people with connections. So, like, if anyone here listening, like, has a connection, if you work in politics, or if you know someone, or your family knows someone who works in politics, particularly if they're high up, like, please let us know. If your mom is a Democratic county commissioner, if your dad was college roommates with someone who now works at the DNC, if you know anyone even remotely like this, please let us know, because the dirty secret is that so much of the politics world is just a who you know game. Is just you know this person, you have a good relationship with them, or you just have someone to give you the intro, to give you their email or their phone number, and to be like, hey, this is a real person who isn't a scammer, and to get in the room and talk with them. Like, I cannot overemphasize how important that is compared to anything else in terms of getting stuff off the ground, of being able to talk to people. You know, if you have anything even remotely like this, like, please, like Discord, Reddit, email, whatever, like, get in contact with us. Like, I'm Flowtrace on Reddit, I'm Flowtrace on Discord. Like, Bryce runs the Pragmatic Papers. He makes the post for that every single week. Like, DM one of us, please, because
We'll
like,
put a link to the server under the video. We'll talk to people and figure it out.
Yeah, these connections are the lifeblood of politics in general. And, you know, as the new kids on the block, as, you know, an upstart political organization doing canvassing fueled by political streamers, like, that's just something that is brand new, you know, and people are skeptical. So any personal connects that we can use to get our foot in the door, that is the lifeblood of how we're going to make this work.
Awesome. Yeah. Just quick follow-up, but you already touched on it, is as outreach director, if you guys know Hunter Biden, if you guys know any cool people that are fun to talk to, Hunter's a DGGer, right? I think. No, I'm trolling.
He liked it. He liked the Instagram post today.
I saw that.
A Destiny
A real
Instagram
with
reel.
me.
We're
So that's
one
basically in.
step closer. We're in.
Yeah.
We're in. We're getting it. If Andrew Callahan can do it, okay.
Any laptop repair shops have a connect, please let us know. You know? Yeah. You talk about the Discord. You want to touch that?
Yeah, we'll swing over to the Discord. Bryce, I'll take this one. Is basically, we talked briefly in the intro about, you know, this, you know, the Discord server is the place for someone who's interested in doing politics, who has, you know,
What Discord server? What are you talking about?
this is the DGG Political Action Discord server. So that's where we're based out of. That's our main organizing body, and that's where all of us are every day. And there's a couple things here is that, you know, as a new person, it's hard to know how to get your foot in the door, how to get trained up. Like, what can I do that is useful and I can build on these skills? Is the goal is to make it as easy as possible to take the first step and then to take the next step. So we have a weekly call to action. The weekly call to action generally takes under an hour. This one is actually a follow-up to the Cardano interview. Is the next week one that we're live streaming now. But the next one that'll go up will be related to the Cardano stuff. The one that's up right now is related to Z stuff. So we're always doing calls to action to help out our partners, to help out the political movement, and there's been some really impactful ones. We did the North Carolina stuff that made national news, the Supreme Court judge. The way that this worked, there was a call about this with the Pragmatic Papers guy, Stephen, if you remember. But the way that it works is they're trying to remove voters from the voter roll. They're trying to say these votes don't count because they misspelled their name, they did this. And voter cure is where you go out and you knock on their door and you say, you tried to vote and your vote is not being counted. I need you to sign here and correct your name on this form. And that's the most effective project that you can do. It's Eric, one of the PV founders, is very big on that. So we were coordinating that whole thing. Luckily, we got through on court and it resolved in our favor. But if it had not resolved in the court and we had to do the voter cure, then we were on the front lines of that issue. So
That's what our hero, our Black Queen, Afro Sabi, was her name? Do you remember a long time ago?
Sorry?
Did I get the name wrong? Do you remember when we first started doing canvassing, she showed up sometimes, she spoke to us. I want to say, was she from Georgia? But her main thing was carrying ballots. That's what she worked with a lot of the time every time she stopped by and
Shout
chatted
out
with
that
us.
person.
You guys don't
Shout.
remember?
If this was the 2020 event, I don't think any of us were there. If it was like the first time we were in Georgia.
Yeah, I'm 22 is when I got in.
Whatever. Okay. Don't worry about it. Never mind.
We're not real fans.
Guess we don't have real historians.
We should have let it hang. It would have been.
good.
I think it would have been awesome. Like,
No, it wouldn't have been.
missed opportunity.
Okay, go
Like, okay.
Yeah, the Discord is really where everything happens right now.
DGG poll, POL.
Yeah, do we have like a Discord link?
Discord.gg/DGG.
Guys, we're all on camera right now, but someone fucking put a link in chat and
They got it. Yeah,
August,
they're doing
please.
it.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Thank you, soldiers. Cool. Any other notes on the server, Bryce, or anyone?
No, just
Steven, any questions?
No, I mean, a big complaint that I've had for a long time that we've had in general is that it's hard to take politically interested people and turn them into politically activated people.
100%.
And initially the canvassing stuff and the events give us an opportunity to do that. And then hopefully the longer term programs that you guys are starting to stand up also give another opportunity to do that. And whether it's door knocking or curing ballots, or I know that Lauren was heavily involved last time with, I think, phone banking, like getting people to make phone calls and stuff, like whatever it is. Like, yeah, every
We're
little bit
always
helps.
doing stuff. Always. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing is like a lot of times people think it's only like November, like it's only, but like there's like almost always like a special election or like some legal battle around like the counting of votes in an election that you can get involved in. I mean, like it was just a couple weeks ago that Miami had their special election and a Democrat won. We've got a Democrat mayor in Miami for the first time in like 30, 40 years. So like if you like feel like, man, I want to do something, don't feel like, well, it's January, there's nothing for me in February, it's whatever month. Like, I guarantee you there's always something that you can work on that is very meaningful. And no matter what that time commitment is, you've got an hour this week, if you've got 10 hours every week, we will find a way for you to help us out and to make a real impact and build something that's really going to change.
Yeah, I think it's one of the biggest problems right now with the Democratic Party is we have a $2 billion goes out just to, I think, the presidential during the 24 campaign season, and the budget for Progressive Victory, which is by far the biggest project in the new media space, is $1 million. That's how much, just to contextualize this, I think Charlie Kirk got handed because some guy liked the cut of his jib, okay, when he was fresh out of high school. A random high school kid just gets $1 million, and that's the entire new media budget for exciting new media projects with the biggest creators, right? So the good news for this is that I think there's a lot of room to grow, is that we do have a real chance of getting more of that pie as we prove ourselves, and it solves the problem you're talking about of advertisements do not create political actors. You can't fill out your ranks with them, and the halls of power are desperate right now for young blood, young people. When young people show up, we were at the DNC meeting, people are like, oh my God, a young person. It's like, this is like bad. Like 29 is not that young that you're like so shocked to see
political
me.
stuff. I mean, like that was one of the reasons why people were so excited in the Republican Party about Trump, is because he was bringing new, younger people to the party. So
yeah, super important. All right. Cool. And then, I mean, I guess we're already touching on it, but let me get the mic. We're already touching on it, but the kind of bigger project too is contextualizing like where we're at and where these orgs are at in the media space. And I think we've already emphasized it time and time again, but like the importance of the work that we're doing, and really, like, I don't think there's anyone else, right? Can you think of anyone else who's on the front line, like for new media stuff? It's
Hasanabe heads. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, true.
Probably not right now, yeah.
Yeah, there's like a couple, like the news people are good at this. BTC has his connections, like the
More Perfect Union.
Yeah, like the news focused people, and then there's some more wonkish people, like I'm thinking PodSave and Ezra Klein are obviously more connected. But in terms of like reaching
Live
out,
and learn.
yeah, reaching out to people who aren't.
Atriak.
Yeah, Atriak is great. Yeah, he's a really good ally who we'll see how it goes. But I'm reaching out to him. But yeah, it's been super awesome. It's a really good field. Oh yeah, the org. So it's like it's us, it's Unfuck, it's PV, a
There are
couple
others
other
out
ones.
there,
Yeah.
But it really is the case that like there's almost no one doing this. There's almost no one paying attention. And like a lot of what we're doing is likely like just jumping up and down, being like, hey, there was $1 million program that knocked like 1/3 of $1 million doors off of the back of like online influencers. Like no one knows about this, and it's a really big deal. Like it is just I cannot overemphasize like how behind we are and how out of sort of sync this new wave of new media, of organizing, of trying to be politically efficacious. How unbelievably unknown it is, even still, to a lot of the like big like power centers when it comes to like democratic organizing and stuff. Like it is just the case that they are still not caught up to date, and it's not going to change unless we keep doing what we're doing. We do it bigger and better every year.
All right. That covers most of the prepared stuff. Steven, you have a bunch of questions for us or thoughts?
No, not really.
And you said you did this for a living? Oh, sorry. I'm joking.
Every time you guys want to talk, there's always
our greatest
ground-shattering, earth-breaking news going on. No, I mean, like, I'm excited to take. I mean, we've learned a lot of lessons from doing the canvassing stuff in the past. We can take these or roll these forward into the future without necessarily having to be beholden to other orgs as much as we were in the past. So we kind of have a little bit more freedom and flexibility to choose the elections that we want to participate in and how we want to dole out our support in those elections. I think working this as like a multi-pronged thing too, where you guys, like the conversation I had today, I thought was really good. I was a little bit skeptical at first. The education is kind of a whatever topic maybe, but Miguel was an awesome conversationalist, and I think it was a good conversation. I thought we covered a lot of good ground. Getting a cabinet level secretary to chat is not easy, I think. So it was an impressive catch. So
A lot of follow-up emails.
yeah,
Good outreach note is every single time you send an email, you send another one a week or two later. You just have to keep pressing people.
yeah. But yeah, I'm excited. It should be good. As my lawsuit comes to an end, Copium, as our YouTube monetization comes back, Copium, and then as our Twitch unban happens, Copium. And then as we have a massive blue wave,
Day 9
Copium.
story. Any day now.
The Day 9 story came and went. It was boring. Okay.
And then the
no one cares.
J6 video.
And the J6 video on the back of all that.
You said tomorrow, right? I think yesterday.
Next year is my J6
Oh,
anniversary.
next year tomorrow.
The
Okay, gotcha.
bidecennial quintennial anniversary, whatever.
And then you said you were doing another J6 video every year after that, just
I
like you
think
love
so.
working on it so much.
Yeah,
Like it's going to be a
exactly.
routine.
About like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Do you know when they certify the election? Do you know? Because it had to go into the next day. It was over midnight. They stayed.
It was January 6th.
And
January 6,
Oh.
7. That's when they certified the election.
Okay,
That's
guys,
crazy.
please join the DGG Politics server. Please join the Discord server, discord.gg/DGG poll. If you want to get involved, you want to do something, if you were like all of us individually, 3-4 years
Yeah.
ago, you care about this, but you want to do something, but you don't know what to do, please join that server. We will give you the tools and the ability to make an impact and to build something. And if we can really galvanize this community, I mean, just to be clear, our 24 program was amazing. We knocked, a third of a million doors. We haven't even barely scratched the surface of what this community can do. If we actually mobilize this community as much as we did for like r/place, we could knock 1 million doors. We could be getting conversations with presidential candidates. We could be doing insane stuff, but it only happens. It all lives and dies based off of our involvement. So if you want to help, if you think that this stuff matters, even a little bit, and you're willing to just donate 1 hour a week, please go discord.gg/DGGPOL, and we can build a better country together.
Let's go. I'll do a quick closer note for myself, and then Bryce, if you want to do the final closer off, or Steven. But my quick note is I'm always thinking farther into the future. I think that the 26 program, the number one thing that I'm focused on is building us up so we have more leaders, more capacity, more proof of our own what we can get done, and that we can do even more in 28, and then even more beyond that. I referenced this earlier, but the expectation is that, who like, do you guys know a gigantic group of 20-year-olds who are all planning on taking office and being staffers and who are deeply politically involved and who have encyclopedic knowledge of most political issues? Like, I'm not familiar with a lot of other options. My suspicion is that, and this is already happening, by the way, when we talk to people, 10% of staffers I shake hands with are like, oh yeah, I know this, XYZ. So we're going to start filling out the ranks. It's not unlikely. That's my projection. That's my prediction. But beyond 28, beyond that, we're going to start having Congress people who grew up in these communities, who were raised by this environment. So looking forward to that. And we will need even more help as we take control of the entire country. And our generation, holds the halls of power, which are currently completely barren and desperate to have us. So looking forward to working with you guys.
One more from Bryce.
One,
Go for it, Bryce.
I got really short, okay? I appreciate everybody in DGG. The things that we do are only possible because of the effort of you guys. Like Sam mentioned, I do the pragmatic papers and I do DGG poll stuff. And it's just really inspiring to see how you guys get out there when you're passionate about things. I want to see more of you out there. I want to see as many people as possible. I've never had a bad interaction with this community. It'll happen at some point. But until then, I appreciate you guys. Love all of you. And thank you for listening to us. I don't know. Just felt like it. Felt appropriate.
He's my leader. You've never seen North Korean, like, fucking, when their leader speaks, you fucking clap until